describe Magicka in a few brief, short, selling words?
As I couldn't describe it using the slogan we used for the first debut trailer, immerse yourself in a generic fantasy world, which is, well,
It's not that selling though.
No, it's not that selling, but then again, claiming that you're creating a fantasy world that's unique is, well, it's a challenge, and it's one we didn't want to focus on. It takes a lot of resources, and we instead wanted to focus on the gameplay aspects of the game, and specifically the spellcasting system, which is totally unique, at least from our point of view, and from what we've seen. It derives on many different games, such as Guitar Hero, Tekken, and Zelda, and all those games. It's a strange mix, I know, but it works. The unique thing about this spell casting system is that you dynamically create your own spells during gameplay in real time. So, for example, if you combine a fire element with a cold element, these two are cancelled. But if you instead combine a fire element with a water element, you get steam and so forth. And then you can mix these together to get different effects. For example, combining fire with earth creates an earth projectile like a fireball.
Basically, it's mainly action, or are there also like puzzles and things to solve with these spells?
Mostly action. We focus on full 100% action, intense encounters, sort of like Gauntlet and those old games where there was a lot of fighting going on. But still, as we have this unique spellcasting system, we want to implement different puzzles. One, for example, is casting cold around and stuff. With the cold spell, you can actually freeze water bodies or lava, and then make it a passable area. And in the similar way, you can create a magma chasm in front of you to hold enemies at bay while you bombard them with projectile spells. And then when you're done, you just call that over and walk across the hardened stone.
So I suppose the cooperative aspect is pretty a big part of it as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the cooperative aspect is one of the most beloved aspects in our company. We play the game at least 5 or 6 times a week, if not more, and it usually ends up in long nights. As well, cooperative is one of the most fun ways to play. In Magicka, the cooperative works as such as you take on the role of up to 4 wizards, which embark on a journey or fight out in these challenge modes we have, which are just basically survivals, and try to achieve the top score. And this is done individually, so you can compete against your fellow teammates, but you still have to work together to get a high score. Or you could take on the entire campaign. One unique aspect regarding cooperative is that we always allow friendly fire. There's no simple way out of that. If you cast a stone projectile in the head of your teammate, well, he gets a stone projectile in his head, and that's not healthy. Then again, there's a fine balance between what makes a fun game and what's just annoying, and therefore we have made life easy, so you can revive fallen comrades in the heat of battle or afterwards if you're not familiar with the specific magic used in the game. Magics are predetermined combinations.
Are all the wizards, do they all have the same skills and spells, or is there sort of any differences between them?
There are no differences between the players initially. You can, however, achieve get your hands on different magical weapons. For example, a fire staff, which not improves your ability to cast the spell in any way, but it might have an effect like if you press a button at the right time, you unleash a small blast, which give you just enough free time to combine your own spells. But this does not necessarily deny you the ability to cast cold spells or anything like that. One thing we've seen though during playtests is that people assume the roles that you see in classic RPGs and adventure games, like the classes that are there. There's a healer, there's a team leader, there's a guy protecting the rear, and it all works out in a really dynamic way, which we hoped would work, but worked even better. It happens almost all the time.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard if you always play the healer, you're going to be a healer in the game, just by default, I guess.
Yeah, and we try to allow this by combining elements in such a way that healing won't get boring. You can create a heal shield which generates an area in which everybody regains health, or you can combine fire and a lot of life, which creates a healing flame, which successfully grants life.
Have you developed it with the keyboard in mind, or the controller in mind, or how's that been?
We have primarily focused on a controller because of the nature of the game, and we're looking at multi-platform. But you will definitely be able to play with a mouse, and by doing so we are using a very simple gesture system. Gesture systems always have the problem of being overcomplicated and denying the player the quickness you need for such a fast-paced game. But we have derived a system that works really well with the mouse and keyboard for all those hardcore PC gamers that won't touch a controller.
So I suppose there's no real loot systems, there's no levels. What is the key to keep people coming back and the replayability?
The replayability is very important to us. I myself is not a personal fan of long games, which takes 14, 18, 20 hours to complete. I rather have a game which I can complete in one evening with a couple of friends. But when I come back, I want to be able to play it again, and therefore we have developed a really neat adventure campaign system in which you can, depending on the success of each level, you can gain access to hidden areas which will lead you to a different part of the campaign, and even unlock alternate story elements.
So there's like a tree to explore.
Exactly, like Star Fox. That's a pretty good example, which I believe is the best way of doing a campaign system.
So where are you at right now in development, and when can we expect to see Magicka?
We're still in pre-alpha, but we hope we're gonna see it on the market during 2010.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.